What's up, my people around the world? This is Dave with 15 for Coffee Business English for International Superstars. Yes, that's you. If you're using English to advance your career, find better markets, take advantage of money that's coming into your country, export more, this is for you. This is all about overcoming any challenges you have with proven sales strategies and best practices from the USA's largest banks and brokerages, brought to you by me, Dave Ostronic, for you, the international multilingual professional out there using English to access bigger markets and better jobs and live that dream lifestyle. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities. We're going to talk about some of the problems. And as always, we're going to wrap up with a awesome technique that you can use in your next interaction, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So let's get going. Again, if you checked out last week's video, we talked a little bit about the internet. Go over that very briefly here for you again. But what you are seeing here is that we have English at 52.1% of online content. What's online content? That's coding, that's information, that's videos, that's content, that's social media. If you're looking to create a market, social media is free. If you are a Spanish speaker, a German speaker, a Russian speaker, Japanese, French, Portuguese, Italian, Turkish, Dutch, Polish, Persian, you have a great advantage when you learn English because you go from 5.5 for Spanish to 52%. 4.8 for German to 52. So you're like 10 timing at least if you're a Spanish speaker, right? Some people might say, well, Dave, you're just a conquistador. You're just a colonizer. Well, this is what is going on. So what I want to do, I just happen to be born where I was born. And what I realized when I was sitting in Spain after talking to my friend was that the things I know from my experience that I had, if I could share those with my friend Juan in Madrid, it could change his life. So I started to develop this idea like, wait a minute, let's share the strategies I know with you guys so you guys can take advantage of these markets. Look at this, it's huge. All right, so that's one thing. We talked about being in the top percent. You guys know the opportunity. You guys are probably already working. You have a job in English probably, or you're trying to sell your business in English, or take advantage of markets, or even maybe move to a country that speaks English so that you can sell and do business, right? So you're already there, you're already in it, but you have that ambition, but you're not getting the results you want. Last week, we talked a little bit about this expression gap. When you have your skill in your language, but it doesn't translate over. And we're going to talk a little bit about why. One reason why this happens that I want to get into with you guys before we get into the next part of this, which is the good stuff, the strategy, the proven sales strategy from U.S. brokerages and banks that you're going to use no matter what level you're at to get a better result. Okay, check this out. Almost all my students from South Korea to Portugal tell me the same thing. Where did you learn English? Well, I learned at school. I learned watching TV. I learned watching movies. I traveled. So you learn like kind of this social English, right? And you use it that way too. You use it to take classes. You use it to get on a plane. You use it to go somewhere else and order dinner, right? So what I call it, I say that you develop what's called social English. You develop this English that's mainly designed for social situations, right? But listen, we all know that social situations are not the same as business. Going out to dinner with your friends and ordering something and having a good time is important, and it can be nerve-wracking, but it doesn't have the same weight, it doesn't have the same context as your interview for your dream job or meeting your boss when you really want to get from mid-management to upper management, CEO, kind of like the C-suite, you want to get there. That's a different situation. That's a different dinner completely, right? And what happens a lot is we take this social English right here and we try to plug it in to business English, but it just doesn't transfer. Why not? Why doesn't it transfer? We'll get to that in a second as we get into the good part of this, which is the strategy. We're going to talk about now if you're someone that is trying to do this, if you're trying to nail that interview, if you have to impress your boss, if you want to meet your coworkers, this is where you want to start. These are the solutions. First, let's get into the mindset. You want to be empathetic. You want to put yourself in their shoes. You want to be curious. You want to learn about them. You want to then develop great questions. Hey, what's your favorite part of the day? What's your favorite part about your job? What got you into this business? What do you like the most? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, ask good questions. And also, don't be afraid to mix it up. Talk about their personal lives. We're emotional. People hire people they like. People work with people they like. Get to know people. We are emotional. We need that emotional connection because we process information emotionally first before we process it logically. So if you're someone out there that's like, why doesn't this customer get it? They don't understand. Why don't they get it? It's because you might need to create emotional connection because they don't trust you. All right, you're here. You have a talent, you have a skill, you have a profession, you also have a language skill. And you want success, you deserve success, but you're not getting it, right? So let's get into it. What's the missing step here? You don't have a strategy. No one taught us how to do this, right? When we learn language, we don't learn how to have a tough conversation. We don't learn how to overcome an objection or get a group of people to like our ideas or to like us as people. It's just not what we learn. We learn vocabulary. We learn phrases. We learn pronunciation. We learn all this technical stuff, but we really don't learn how to use our gifts in a professional environment. We need to reframe our thinking. I have students all the time say on our first call, so what do you think, what's going on? Well, I need vocabulary. I need more phrases. I just don't know what to say. And I say, it's not that you need more. You already have. Most of my students are already, in the intermediate kind of range. They already have a great gift. And if you're a beginner, you already have a great gift. You're already working on that gift. Now, what we need to do is really find out how to make this more effective. How do we move the dial so that we get better results with whatever language we have right now? So it's not about more gifts. It's about using what we have more effectively. It's about focusing on what we control, what we can control, which is how we prepare and how we react. Okay? How are we going to do this, Dave? What's the game plan here? I got your game plan right here. We're going to take your current English level. We're going to add a proven strategy. And these proven strategies come from the largest banks and brokerages in the United States. And I guarantee you today, someone is closing a deal, $1 million deal, using these types of conversations and this framework and this mentality. Empathy, curiosity, great questions, professionalism, guidance, leadership. These are all great things. That's what's going to move the dial, right? We're going to use the largest banks and brokerages in the USA. My experience as a coach, my experience with my 7 investment licenses. I did over $150 million in sales over the phone in a couple years. And I'm a professional copywriter. Phrases, vocab, pronunciation, yeah, it's important. We're going to work on that. But I want to move your dial now so that next time you meet someone in a professional setting, you are getting a better result. You're having a better conversation. You feel better. There's less stress. You have a better result. And things that used to be problems are starting to be memories. You don't even remember them anymore. You feel completely different. You walk into a room, you have a better time. And so let's get into this is my favorite part of teaching, and it is the most important part. I would say it's the most important strategy that we have when we're looking at how do we go into a situation and know exactly who we are, know exactly what we need to say so that when we're not nervous. We're not like, oh no, what do I do? We're actually able to focus on the person in front of us and we're not in our heads. Let's get out of our heads. And we're going to talk today about the value proposition. This is super powerful. The main objective of the value proposition is really to communicate our value to our audience. But what it really does for me, it's like a superpower. It's another superpower. I have my value and who I am and my story and who I help all figured out already so that when people ask me about it, I can give them a really nice answer. It's fast, it's easy to understand, and it's interesting. It drives their curiosity. They want to know more about me because of the way I answer questions, the way I give the information. And it's not because I just have a way with words. No, it's something I prepared. It's something that you need to have ready so that when you go into the interaction, you are ready to go. So let's get into it. The value proposition. We're going to answer these questions one at a time, guys. Don't try to answer a bunch of questions. Keep it really simple. One reason is that you're not going to explain this all at one time. It's going to be a foundation that you draw from, that you take from, and you use it as needed and you customize it, okay? So the first step is, who are you? And I'll walk through and I'll give you an example, my example, and I want you to use the same process for you, and I want you to write it down or create a Google Doc. I personally like writing, but let's get into it. Who are you? This is your name and your title. My name's Dave. I'm a business English coach. Simple. Keep it simple. Who do you serve? Not who do you work for. Who do you serve? Who is the benefit? Who is the end person that benefits from what you do? So if you work in a bank, you could say, well, it's our customers we serve our customers. I work for the bank, but I serve our customers. I also serve other workers. I also serve shareholders because I want to be a good worker and provide value and increase the value, right? So I serve non-native English speaking professionals, people using English to access the international market. And I'm getting into a little bit of their goal. People are using English for what? To access international markets, for more opportunities, to get more, to have a better return, to get paid for their value, to not be underpaid because of where they are, but to find where they're valued at and go there. Maybe that's through the internet. What's their goal? Think about their goal. What's their big obstacle? The big obstacle for my students is that no one taught them how to use English in a way to get results that they want. They learned the social English like we talked about earlier. What's their obstacle? How do I help them? How do you help? What is your process? I'll give you an example. My name's Dave. I use my background in finance to plug in the missing spot, the gap, and fill that gap where a lot of non-native English speakers who are learning English for business are having issues because they don't have a strategy. So I use a strategy based on my book, 15 for Coffee, that's based on my career as a financial expert in financial sales, in service, in copywriting. And I package that in a way where it's really easy for you to get the information you need to move the dial and get a better result in another language, in English. What makes you unique? This is probably the hardest question to answer. You need to tell a story. You need something from your childhood. You need a moment where your mindset changed. You need to have a story. When I was a kid, I liked this. When I went to school, I did this. When I worked, I did this. And one day I realized that everything I learned finally kind of lined up. And now I have the job that I love. And because I love this job, I want to do this in the future. I'll give you an example. My name's Dave. When I was a little kid, I grew up in Nebraska, but I loved Latin and Spanish culture. I loved the food. I loved the music. I started to dance. Later on, I was in finance, and I had this great experience. And then when I was abroad, I was visiting one of my exchange friends in Madrid, and he was telling me that he was having problems being able to sell, and it didn't make sense. And then I realized, wow, I could use my background, my passion for coaching, and I could share that with people that didn't have the experience that I had. I was born in the U.S. I walked into a bank one day and became a teller. I didn't do anything super special besides put the work in. That's what I did. But the opportunity was there for me. I realized I could share this opportunity with you, and you could use this to dramatically change your experience and get better results. That's my story. I want you to think about your story. How did you get to where you are? Are you doing what you love? If so, why do you love it? What happened? When was the moment that you decided that you love this? Okay? So it's a lot of information, guys. This is the value proposition. Go through this exercise. Write it out. Work on it. It's not, again, something you're going to say all at one time. But when someone says, hey, Dave, how'd you get into this? Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, I really loved tamales. I had tamales the first time when I was like 9 years old. And I always remember that. Blah, 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 blah. What about you? When did you get started? Then I throw it back, and then they ask me a question later, and I say, I actually work with people like your cousin, like your friend, like you. So now I'm able to customize the conversation. Okay, guys, value proposition, super important, super powerful. I love it. Get yours today. It's right here. Next week, what are we talking about? Oh, damn. Next week, we're going to talk about communication styles. So go ahead, and if you like this video, subscribe and hit the alert button so we get the next video to you as soon as possible. so that you can take your value proposition and then use it in actual situations and scenarios. So, hey guys, I love it here. Remember, you're special, you're different, you have a vision, you have ambition, but you do have challenges and you have great opportunities. All you need is just this little change. Just align your gifts, align your talents into this roadmap. It's proven, it works. It's not a question of whether it works or not. It's a question of whether you're going to follow through. Write this down, prepare, focus on what you can control, and you will dramatically change your results, and you will have better results in interviews, in job interviews. You're going to increase your pay. You can find remote jobs. You can find job opportunities, and you can outperform native speaking English people, professionals, at their own game. Outsell them. Outdo this. You guys have the power, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results. If this is working, give me a comment in the comment below. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Ciao. Peace out.